that was their not no, what was it? Pizza Law. That was their Pizza Law
Pizza
version.
law
Pizza
is an
Hut.
abomination and an affront to God and man.
Hello and welcome to another Dead Pixel. We're a podcast about video games, anime, entertainment, life, a little bit of everything in between. I'm your host, as always, Joe, and with me, Mr. Man on the News, Nick. How's it doing, Nick?
I'm doing good. There's not a lot of news. There's just a lot of new things to talk about. I will say that. Um, a lot of state of play, or a lot of showcases. So PlayStation State of Play, Summer Game Fest 2025, um, Day of the Devs as well, which we won't talk about too much, but I did kind of grab it. I was thinking that you would have already watched a lot of this stuff, so I was like, well, I need to grab it because because I'm sure Joe will have already gone through all of it, so I need to have it there. But um, things are more complicated now, right? At this structure juncture in our lives. So we'll see how far we
Yeah, my
get.
house is falling apart around me as kind of we speak, and it's one of those
It's.
emergency situations where,
I
like,
mean, have you seen that
I'm a
that
house fire
meme?
away from the triple crown of destruction.
Like, have you seen the meme slash GIF of the end of the Pirates of the Caribbean, like that third movie, where the bad captain is like walking down the steps of the ship as it's like exploding around him. That's what I imagine your house is like right now. So if you can't think of that, you need to look it up because it's pretty great.
Yeah, if I pan the camera just over my shoulder
Like,
this way, and then you end up seeing just a bunch of boxes and stuff, and it's just like, yeah, it's pretty bad right now. But anyways,
um,
yeah,
I
owning a house, loads of fun.
yeah,
Buy a newer house or something, or just have
just
better luck than I do.
just be insanely
Which is
rich.
funny because I had a buddy of mine who called me literally before everything fell apart. He's like, "Yeah, I got this good news. This happened, that happened." I'm like, and this is the same person who always like happens to like sunshine and rainbows. Everything's always comes up them, and I'm like, "Yeah, good for you." Like, I'm genuinely happy for them, but I'm like, and then the moment, like within like an hour after I get done talking with them, things start going wrong, and I'm like, I think I hate you. I think I really
You're
do. I
just
think it's
sucking
like
all
you are
the
just leeching
siphoning.
all my all like yeah. It's
I mean,
anyways, I mean it could be worse. But it most definitely isn't going grand on my end. So I did watch the state of play, and I can talk pretty detailed on that. The Unfortunately, after that, everything went wrong, and I have barely glimpsed at
well, I mean, as we
the
record, like Summer Games Fest just happened. I didn't know when it was happening. I knew it was about to happen, but I forgot the day. I kind of I was kind of hoping would happen like on a Saturday night or something. Because I came home, it being Friday, and I like turned it on YouTube and saw. I was like, wait, it's already on, and so I had to jump in and watch it. But yeah, so I was just kind of surprised by that. Besides that, there's some other little newsy bits. The Switch 2 launched, I think. Is that right? That happened.
That's great because as a former GameStop member and management, I'm like,
Their
how, all
lives.
right, for those who don't know, GameStop started stapling receipts to the front of
I heard
boxes,
about
and
this.
Nintendo didn't know how to package their boxes. So apparently, behind the cover flap of the cardboard, you flip it up, and there's your system screen right there, not protected in extra layers in the middle of the box or
Oh
nothing, or even on the
no.
bottom. It is right there. So the people who then stapled boxes were then fanging, essentially two hole puncturing screens, causing, not necessarily all the way through, but causing damage, and at least scratches and some, it boggles the mind. Why would you staple boxes? We used to tape them when it came to the 360 launch, any console launch. I mean, the Wii, stuff like that. You just tape the receipt to the box. It's there's tape.
It's
You just
literally
do
might be
that.
cheaper
Uh,
too.
and they you're not damaging the box. Yes, you might damage it when they remove the tape, but guess what? That's on the customer.
You
But at
remove the
least
tape.
you are not giving like you're not damaging the box, and because that people don't want to buy a brand new system and have they don't want a dented box, let alone one that has staple holes through it. Doesn't
Through
matter
your
if it
screen.
damages the screen or not. Yeah, yeah, like the screen damage is atrocious, but still, if I went ahead, here's your console, brand new gaming console, whatever it may be, and here's your seat, ka-chunk. Let me just staple that for you. You'd be like, what the hell did you just damage my box for? Yeah, it just, oh my goodness. I mean, once again, as a former member, you do not have to be the brightest bulb to work there, nor do you have to be the brightest bulb to manage. So it makes sense why they're going out of business, and why I've stopped
I
working
mean,
there
they've
for a
been
very
going
long
out of
time.
business for maybe 10 years now, right? I mean, it's been at least 10
It
years.
it's like the
So
slowest of claps. It's
they
just like you're just
just,
waiting.
they're it's if another GameStop stock fiasco happens, they might get another 3 or 4 years out of it. I don't know. I don't know how they're alive. I would love to take a look at their books and just see literally kind of how they're surviving. But anyway, I did hear a bit about that. That's sad. I don't know why you would staple instead of just tape, other than like if you're stack, it's like, okay, we're going to have to stack like 50 of these so the tape might rip off. Maybe that's what you're thinking. I don't know. But other little
Once
bits.
again, also go on Nintendo. Way to be anti-consumer. Like, hey, we just hope that any of the delivery guys don't damage the front of your box,
Well,
because it's not like it's extra padding. There's no foam inserts or anything like that. All it takes is one good delivery guy to just fumble something or just throw something else on top of your box.
apparently
So
Nintendo is replacing these. Like they've heard about it, and they are going to replace it. And then the staplers have been confiscated from from people. I think I saw it on freaking IGN. They have like a picture of what's his name, the boss guy on Office Space. So yeah. Anyway, so that was a funny little story. Switch 2 launched. Also, this other little news thing I saw, the Squid Game, the TV show, the creator of that show, in the course of filming the first and second season, he lost due to stress, not due to getting kicked in the face or anything like that. Due to stress, he lost 8 or 9 teeth. And
what?
yeah, yes, this is what is being reported by IGN. And then since then, through the filming of season 3, which is about to come out, he has lost 2 more, so totaling 10 or 11. He said it was like 8 or 9. So I don't know why he doesn't know the exact number. I think I would remember that exact number. So as many as 11 teeth he has lost due to stress. And I was like reading that, and I was like, what in the world why would you lose teeth due to stress, number one? And number two, why are you so stressed out that it's causing you to lose teeth? Like that just, I mean, maybe he already had bad teeth hygiene. I think I saw a picture of him. He seemed fine, but I was just like, what in the I would, if I wouldn't do that. But that's me. I don't know.
I mean, maybe he's pulling the Shia LaBeouf thing where, for that Tank movie where he ripped out his own tooth,
This
on
guy's not on
scene.
camera.
Like,
Like, I don't know.
he's just proving his solidarity with all the people. Like, yeah, you got to be in on this. You got to be fully committed to the bit. Um, you know,
I don't know,
if
dude.
I'm doing this off camera, you need to be doing more on camera. Or the stress is everyone else is taking the stress on him, and they are just dogpiling him behind the scenes. Their list is like,
Oh.
you mother, like, yeah, I don't know. Well, dude, that's terrible. I mean, yeah, that's
I just
insane.
don't know why. I mean, I was
Well,
just reading this and I was like, what? Someone has to stop this. This is, I don't know. This is
just a few
ridiculous.
more, and he can just get a full new set.
Well, he
Just
said he's still waiting on the 2 that he just lost to get, I don't know. He said he's still waiting on them to come in. I guess he meant like at the dentist office or whatever, so he can get him replaced. But I'm just like, wow, that's wild. Anyway,
All right.
that's the other weird news. I guess we can go to state of play if you're ready.
Yeah. All right. Go for it.
So, quite a bit of pretty good stuff. I think they were smart to dump their state of play the day before Game Fest. Not really because it's not as good, but it's definitely not as much. And but there are still some good things on here. So
Well, it's the old E3 mentality, right? It's just like E3 is going to have the showcase. So then what you do is you do your own press conference before the E3 thing,
yeah,
and that's kind of that's kind of the thing you want to get your own time in the spotlight, as it were. Uh, yeah, and they opened this kind of like it was funny because I'm looking at this, I'm like, are they re-releasing Tetris again?
I
And
thought
then
it
the
was
moment
yeah.
well, because it's the same team, right? So it's like, but you're looking at this and it's like it sounds like Tetris Effect, and you're like, all right, they're repackaging. And like, is this the Switch version? Is that what they're doing?
I was
Like, really weird for PlayStation to be showing this. I'm like, I don't know why. And then it's all of a sudden the screen, they show the block scan from left to right. I'm like, oh, all right, Luminous, got it. Totally the the PSP. In fact, that was one of the first days I worked at GameStop. Funny enough, was for the PSP launch. So
So Luminez
it kind of
Arise is the first thing they showed. Yeah, and I thought, I mean, is Tetris Effect already in VR? Because I was like, oh, is this just Tetris Effect VR? But I was like, this configuration doesn't look properly, and then I was like, okay, Luminez. All right, well, yeah.
and yes, Tetris Effect was PSVR 1, and then they for like a $10 upgrade, you were able to get it for PSVR 2.
Okay.
So highly recommend Tetris Effect in VR. It's pretty awesome.
Well, I don't really know much about Luminez. I've heard it's a good game, but going on to the next one, Pragmata from Capcom, coming out in 2026, I think. So it's a bit of a ways away. I don't remember if they said what season, but it is 2026. Looks pretty cool. I was definitely like, this looks like something that I definitely want to keep my eye on. It's sci-fi, sort of Dead Spacey in a way, in that you are a guy in a spacesuit, alone, more or less, on a some sort of spacey station. Uh, this one you wake up, and so I'm sure I could read into the story here, but you wake up, you're not really sure what's going on or what's happened, but there is a little girl, a little blonde-headed girl that you find, and she uh, kind of becomes your partner. Do you remember that game? Do you remember what was it? Earthworm Jim 2, where you had the snot character, or was it 3, where you had the snot character that was on your back?
Yes, and I think it was 2.
So this is that.
That's what you
So
get
the,
to.
so the little girl is like the snot character, but she has some sort of weird alien powers, mind powers, and you use those to fight the enemies and stuff like that. So
She's a machine. She's a robot. She's a little robot girl, and she can hack
oh,
other
that was it. Yeah.
machines.
Okay, that was it. Hacking.
That's why when she's able to do like interruptions, it looks like you're able to target things with her. Or I'm not sure if they do it automatically, but you can see like line of sight from her. It's like a dotted line, like the white line coming out from her to the enemy.
So basically,
So
this
it's like
is she's the Capcom answer to 9S from near Automata. So it's basically just that. Anyway,
I mean,
it's an actiony looking game. It looks pretty spiffy. The enemies look pretty cool. Um, we do get a little bit of gameplay. Nothing really in depth, but some highlights and stuff. And it looks exciting. I'll admit it looks good. Um,
they announced this thing 4 years ago.
okay,
Yeah, so that's
I
that's
forgot
kind of
about it.
yeah, it's fine because it was supposed to come out in like 2022,
Oh,
and hence
jeez.
the joke they put at the end, um, where they're like 2022 exit out, 2023 exit out, or like they're like question mark, and then they're like, sorry, then next year for real,
For,
so
it's for real. I mean, I
I
don't
forget.
bl-
They made some reference, but it's like it was a tongue in cheek. And like, okay, looks like they came a long way in the game. And no, they said it's real. That's right, it's real. X capital D
Look,
face.
making video games is really hard. And there's a ton of stories about from devs that are like, yeah, the game just wasn't coming together, and so we had to can it, and we used the assets in other games and stuff like that, and kind of pick that carcass clean. So good on them for sticking with it and looking like they're going to give us something pretty interesting, to say the least. So I'm excited.
It's a new IP, and
New IP.
Capcom's doing it. It's looking good, and so yes, I mean, most definitely, I want it to be good, and at least it looks awesome, and it
New
looks like it'll
IP being
play.
the key word there. That's always what I want to see.
All right, what else? We got a long
We
list.
got a long way to go, dude. Romeo is a Dead Man. This is a new game from Suda51 or Goichi Suda, Suda Goichi, depending on where you are in the world. And it is. I don't even know how to really describe this game. You you're a weird looking guy that kills things and slices things up. It looks very floaty and janky in that Suda 51 style. Um, the that starts out with you are a guy that's like bitten by some kind of a zombie, and then a doctor comes to save you.
Dude,
But
this opening animation looked like it reminded me, like, okay, the moment I saw this opening animation, they're just all squiggly MS Paint drawing, like,
yes,
it looks like something from the Adult Swim era of, like, Tim and Eric or, like, Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
100%.
Rotoscoped weirdly, they're all like, "Oh, we're eating curry," and they're all just scarfing it down. I'm like, "This is this is Revolver Digital, right? This is them?" Like, or Devolver Di like, I mean, this
No,
is totally them, like, this is.
I
And then they're
I
like, "No, it turned out it wasn't."
I
But
knew it was either Suda 51 or the guy. Maybe it's not the same guy. The guy that does No More
Swery?
Heroes. What? Swery?
Okay, I was thinking you're thinking Swery, yeah, because
Yeah, yeah.
the No More Heroes is Suda,
Okay.
but Swery is the one who did
Per,
Deadly Premonitions.
yeah, yeah, that guy. So I was thinking it's either Suda 51 or the other guy who was Swery. Yeah. So, because I was just like, this is too weird. So it is a weird looking game. It does look like some sort of a, um, slashing action game, but very strange in that kind of avant-garde video game avant-garde style. So, uh, yeah,
Yeah, it's third person. Has looks like fast paced melee combat with also gunplay to boot. So something close-ish to, like, at least looking like a Devil May Cry. Not necessarily game, the combo system or the impact, but it's like you run around, fast melee, fast guns, uh, and a very unique art style. The name is what it is. I don't care about the
yeah,
name, but it's like
that's
it's
fine.
very much it's a dude. It's cool to see something weird, and once again another new IP. So this is awesome.
Next up, Silent Hill F. Um, and we get to see some more gameplay. Um, not seeing very much of a HUD from what I remember on this. So this game is it's set in Japan, so um, not like in Silent Hill proper, I guess, but it's set in Japan. You're a young Japanese girl, and weird things are happening in your town. But it looks good. It looks good and scary. And it looks like it has a really great atmosphere. Still,
Yeah, the enemies are most definitely creepy and janky in the, like, glitchy kind of a movement sort of way. It's very, traditional in that sense. because it's in Japan and because it's the time frame. You're back to it's like the older school Silent Hill theme of like melee combat opposed to the more recent remakes and stuff, or like gunplay is more key, is king. So that's decent. Yeah, they kind of hint a little bit about the story being kind of weirdly messed up because there's some animosity towards the main character, so she's going to have some
Yeah,
psychological issues.
like the side
'Cause
character that
she,
you meet, either they show in the trailer is like she calls you a traitor, but like when your back is turned, and so you don't really sure if it's like reality or not. But I like that they're putting that out there because there's nothing that I am more disappointed in than a horror anything with just jump scares. I hate that. It's like that is the most for easily to forget dumb thing. So if they're like the crux of Silent Hill, from what I understand, and what makes it so long lasting is the psychological horror that kind of takes place, the unfolding of events. So, we're not reading too much into it. If they, if that kind of holds true with what I'm seeing there, then hopefully there'll be plenty of psychological horror in this, and it'll be good for that.
yeah, for sure. All right. Yeah, this is one that the more they show about it, the more I'm getting into it. I was a little bit kind of on the fence about it before. Just skeptical. I should like hopefully optimistic, the but yeah, as they show more of it, I'm like, okay, this is good. Though I kind of hope they have some more character designs or enemy designs because they showed a lot of the Scarecrow uh, version thing. I'm like, okay, but it's kind of like, well, instead of having mannequins, we're just gonna have these Scarecrow figures, and which is fine. But once again, it looks like it's gonna be like a lot of good body horror.
Mm-hmm.
Good for those who want it or who want something creepy, but maybe not so good if you get if people are squeamish. So
Yeah. Um, Next up, Bloodstained, the Scarlet Engagement. So this game actually does look pretty cool. I didn't play Bloodstained. It's kind of on my way down deep on the backlog, but I know you played a lot of Bloodstained. I was wondering if you had any thoughts on this one.
yeah, so I played a lot of Bloodstain. I
I say
100% of
that
that
with
game.
kind of a tongue in cheek. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. I kind of hate myself for completing that one. That the game was great. Don't try to platinum that or 100% that game because it's all RNG for a lot of the stuff. So I end up wasting hours of my life. Luckily, I listen to a podcast or something like that, but hours of my life just trying to grind for stupid drops. Um, so yes. Anyways, the gameplay was solid. It's a fun enough story, and I'm actually kind of glad that they're continuing like the world, I guess, or at least I'm hoping it's a continuation of some sort. I mean, it could just be like a Castlevania.
Mm,
That's the whole thing is it was modeled originally after Castlevania. So like Castlevania games, they are loosely tied together, but more or less you could take any of them, as a single thing. So I'm hoping this will obviously be looks like new characters and stuff like that, so you can have a good story. Anyone can just jump onto this. It doesn't look like you need to know anything about the previous game, but I kind of hope they do have the more lore or anything like that to help fill in for maybe those who did play the first one.
yeah.
But anyways, it looks good. I'm always down for a good Castlevania game, and this game looks polished. So I actually don't remember when it said it's coming out though. I didn't know if you caught that or if it didn't
I
say anything
didn't.
at all.
No, it
Okay.
probably it may have, but yeah, it is good because that guy I forget his name. Dang it, I can't think of his name. Uh, the guy that made Bloodstained and um, anyway, it's good to see him being able to break off and kind of create his own series that he can kind of keep working on. Uh, I like that a lot.
Um, Ida.
Ida,
Uh, so
Iga,
yeah.
Iga or Ida, Iga, right?
No, no. Well, the producer, yeah, Igarashi,
Yeah.
Koji Igarashi. But the director was um, Shutaro Ida.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but I think Igarashi might have been. So it's been a while. I remember this because Bloodstain was originally a Kickstarter project,
Right.
and it was kind of around the time or shortly after Kickstarter. I feel like it was after Kickstarter started having some of the major classic guys who came in um, flop a little bit.
Mm.
You had like Mighty Number Nine or some of the ones that just didn't hit as hard. So this
Yeah,
was
Mighty
like,
Number Nine. Oh
you know,
man. Yikes.
yeah, right.
Um,
Still too soon.
and then freaking what's the one came out on Dreamcast? Sh- started
Oh, Shamu.
Shenmue 3. They tried to kickstart that. There's a really good YouTube video by Super Eye Patch Wolf called uh I've played Shenmue 3 and wasted my life or something like that. And he goes through it, and it's he does a good job of talking about what is good about the game and what is so wrong about it, and the things that they could have done very easily, very easily to make it right. Um, anyway, so that's enough of a tangent.
Well, it also remind yeah on the same vein. It's like the Devil's Third,
Mm.
which was a Itagaki game. The dude who did the DOA series. That, and if you haven't heard of the Devil's Third, there's a reason for that. So just
The name sounds
look that
familiar,
up on
but
your own time.
yeah. So there's some homework for you there,
But
kids.
anyways, no, this on the other hand, Bloodstain, good game. The first one, good game. And I'm really hopeful for the second.
Okay, we're going to run through some of these next ones. Uh, Next one, Digimon Story Time Stranger. Um, Looks all right from what I remember, but I don't really care about that kind of
The
that
Digimon is not this like this. So
Digimon.
like, it's not the Digimon I grew up with, so I have no idea what's going
Dude,
on.
I
They,
wouldn't.
though I
Yeah.
do get a kick out of their outfits, their uniforms being like a throwback to Kamen Rider,
Mm.
like the ascot waving in the wind hero outfit. I'm like, I like the vibe you're going for. You seem so convoluted. I'm not even gonna bother.
I mean, at least it's a nice looking enough game, so that's cool. Final Fantasy Tactics: The Evil East Chronicles. This is some sort of re-release. It looks like, or remake.
They're remaking it,
Yeah.
so it's technically it's a remake of a remake. Maybe they did something back in the Vita for the or maybe it was PSP. I think it was the Vita. It was the War of the Lions remake,
Oh right.
and but the, and then this is kind of another thing of that where it looks like they have upped the graphics on this. It's fully voiced, but you can do the throwback original graphics. Uh, I have a buddy who's just absolutely over the moon for this because this is their all-time favorite tactics game. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I kind of wish they did a new game instead. But hey, it is a classic. A lot of people don't know about it. I just don't know if people have the patience for tactics games like this kind of version. Because Fire Emblem's one thing, this is different. This is a little bit. It was more difficult unless if you learned how to cheese the system, which everyone's going to do. So
Yeah.
you keep one person alive, and you literally dogpile that one person. Everyone gets experience for bullying one person. It's kind of great.
Next up, Baby Steps. We have a release date now. Finally, September 8th of this year. So, coming out very soon. I'm excited for this. Looks stupid in the best way. So yeah, I just but we also get to see a little bit more of the gameplay, a little bit more of kind of how it works. Seems like what we knew, already.
I was more interested at the announcement trailer, less interested now.
Oh, okay. Well, to each their own. Um, Next, beyond that is Hirogami. Well, Gami would be paper, I would think. So I don't remember what this game is about, to be honest.
This one's just like a little action platformer. It's cell shaded. Your person is uh made of paper, or at least has the ability to. So you turn into
So
paper
you're like a
planes and
paper
you can
hero,
fly and glide.
Hirogami.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
and it's like an action platformer essentially.
Okay. Action platformer about paper. Okay. Everybody's golf hot shots, golf game. Okay.
This is one of those word salad titles because Hot Shots was the U.S. name, Everybody's Golf was the Japanese name. So let's just merge them into a cluster. And yeah, it's hey, the games are fun. They're simple entertainment, and it's awesome. Uh, they should make one for the PSVR 2, but you know, anyways, they had it for the PSVR 1.
Yeah.
Uh, all right, that's it. I mean, if they're simple, fun, early golf games, nothing serious.
Yeah. Next up, Ninja Gaiden Rage Bound. Um, this is a Ninja Gaiden game. Looks pretty cool. Um, lot of fighting going on. A lot of samurai swords, samurai armor swinging around, fighting demons and demon dragons and stuff like that. Um, this
The
isn't.
twist is you get to play as two people in this one.
So is this the new main one?
So they announced this one a while back,
Yeah.
and like I said, they went with the more retro style gameplay instead of like a 3D, like the black games. But they announced this, I think, when they originally re-released one of the old Ninja Gaiden Blacks to the current
Yeah.
consoles. Um, anyways, it looks it's a ninja. It's like more akin to the old 2D versions. Has some guest composers from the original stuff. It looks solid. And then you're switching between two protagonists. So they have some slightly different game style, but it looks like you're switching on the fly. So it's just more or less one person with two different skins. I think. At least that's what it looked like.
Mm.
Uh, so yeah.
Yeah. So it does look pretty snazzy though. If you're already into Ninja Gaiden or something similar, then this does look pretty cool. Then we see a little bit more from Cairn. This is that rock climbing game, and it looks cool. It looks interesting. Not too much more to report on that though. I'll probably keep an eye on it though, because it does seem a bit unique. You don't see too many games like that.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things that though I forgot that this game was coming out, and then I
Mm.
remember watching. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, this rock climbing game. And then I'm like, I once again, just like baby steps. I'm like, I don't know if I'm as interested as in anymore. It's like I feel like it's just going to be a walk through depression or something like that. People are going to have like their own emotional journeys to overcome, and I'm like,
I
I really hope
really,
it's not a metaphor.
I really
I
don't
really
need
hope not.
therapy in my games that much. I mean, so I would really be happy for this game to just be about rock climbing, but we'll see how it goes. Um,
Unfortunately, they canceled the cliffhanger game, so that was in the make. So like, that's what I wanted. Like Stallone's old cliffhanger. Just
I always
oh
just think
man.
of the Ace Ventura 2, where he loses the raccoon on the mountain in the same way. It's a joke about cliffhangers.
It's the opening act of Cliffhanger and
Yes.
Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
I remember like rewatching it in high school, Cliffhanger, and being like, "Wait a minute, that's the dude from Third Rock from the Sun, and he's the bad guy." It's like John
Oh,
Lithgow, and
John
like
Lithgow.
carrying a Spyderco knife, like cutting some fools and stuff. I'm like, what the heck? Yeah. So it's fun to see like certain people at like who play like father figures as
Oh,
villains. So,
I love
but
John
yeah, all
Lithgow.
right.
He's so good. Next up, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. Collection with a K at the beginning. Um, because what else would make you want to kill yourself more? So, yeah, I guess this is a bunch of their old games all collected together, right?
All right, so the important part is this is Digital Eclipse. Digital Eclipse being the some major frontrunners of game preservation.
Oh,
So they actually have a lot of like backstory and stuff to it too. They did the really good Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection. They
Mm.
did
Was that
the
spelled with a K too?
recently the Atari 50 game, so like 50 Atari game, like in one. They did a couple others that are, but like I said, they're Street Fighter, 30th anniversary collection and Mega Man. So like they do really good collections here, for sure. They more recently, they ended up doing I thought, yeah, that's right, the making of. They did the making of Karateka. So I,
Mm.
if you want to watch something like look the history of like an old game, that's really well done. And anyways, this is they do not only the current setup of or like the main console ports, but then they do some arcade and handheld, and they kind of go through that as well. And they're showing some behind the scenes footage. It's kind of a neat thing for preservation archive kind of thing. So it's not just a simple game
Hmm.
like bundle. Uh, yeah, these guys are rock solid. And plus there's going to be some rollback netcode kind of gameplay, net play. So that's kind of exciting for those who want to relive those days. I was always garbage at these games,
Mm.
and I just the only thing is, you always just wanted to do the fatalities, and that's all, But no, it's uh, I would like to own like their collections are worth paying attention to. So that's yeah.
That's good. That's good. I always like games preservation whenever it pops up. I think that's something that we as a society need to push forward. Next up, speaking of fighting games, Sony has come out with, or they are planning to come out with, their own fight stick, Project Defiant wireless fight stick, um, announced here, shown pictures of, not shown any video of people actually using it, but shown pictures of this, and I think it's projected to come out next year. No price point yet, so I imagine we're looking at upward. If I had to guess, looking at it, it looks like 200 or more. Now, there is a very there's a very nice fight stick that I forget the name of it. It starts with a V, Victus, or like I think is what it's called. That I've had my eye on Amazon. They're kind of a third party group. Really snazzy looking fight stick. And those go for like 400. So I don't know where PlayStation, Sony is going to want to end up with this. It is nice looking. It's a nice looking stick. Um, but that's from a picture that they're showing us. How nice the build quality will actually be, it remains to be seen. They want to sell a lot. Um, so it's like, I think 400 it will probably be too much, but it is Sony, so you never know. But I think 400 is probably too high for the price point that they're going for to actually move units. But as fight sticks go, you kind of have to get up into over 150, 200 to be decent. Because I have a decent Mayflash fight stick, then that was 150 bucks. Bought a couple years ago. So anyway, I just saw this and I was like, "Holy crap! They're coming out with a fight stick." I like it. I think it's a good move um, on their part. I like the idea of fight sticks. I think they've put more into fighting games than other consoles and companies have. So I think it's good overall, and it does look good. I'm excited to see more as we get closer to next year.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to be 200 to 250 is what I'm looking at
That's probably about
actually,
right. Yeah.
because I mean when you so Victus is a brand.
Yeah.
I've been looking, like I know they have a hitbox one that I was looking at years ago. Um I That's the thing, is I was curious. I'm like, oh, that's a bold choice to have a stick and not also like a hitbox variant. For those who don't know, it's essentially, instead of using uh, the fights a joystick. Hitboxes have become really popular in the fighting scene because you have buttons for your left hand to control the up, down, left, right inputs, and it lets you pull off a little bit more precise movement, but it also requires that much more brain training to get
Coordination.
used to that kind of configuration. Like once you
It's,
get used to it, a lot of people really do seem to like it. Uh,
I mean,
but looking at similar, you know,
I was just gonna say, just to jump in on that,
mm,
the hitbox is basically the gold standard for Smash Bros. Like other games, it's like, well, it kind of works, and but it's kind of it's not something that you would have to use. But if you're gonna be, but apparently, from what the limited, very limited amount of information that I've gathered on it, it is like if you want to go far in Super Smash Brothers, Hitbox is the thing. So for whatever reason, the way that game is made and the way Hitbox is made, I think it might actually be that Hitbox was made in a as a response to Smash Bros. To be like, okay, we need something that's going to work for this game better, and then they made that. I don't remember exactly what it is, but anyway, I just want to jump in and say that.
yeah. So as far as other fight sticks go, I mean, generally speaking, you're looking at for a decent like popular mainstream brand, you're looking at least like 150.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 150 to 250 if you depending on your Quamba or your Hori brand or something like that. Now I
It's
know
like entry
as you're talking about
level.
like
Yeah.
it's like, but then if you're talking about like your PDP, those things can go up to like $500 or something like that. The insane. I don't think that's, I mean, I know Mad Cats has gone all over the range too. Like you can find them for all different price points. A lot of it also depends on how many consoles you're doing, right? Because some of these are only one console and PC dedicated. Some of these more expensive ones can do all three. It's like so we'll end up seeing how that goes. uh, it looks like a sleek, controller. A lot of people are going to want to know what switches they're using. Um, I It's nice that they're coming out with one officially. At the same time, I feel like it's not necessary. Uh, but I mean, who knows? It might provide some uniqueness that other third party ones don't have, and that's kind of what I'm curious about. I can see them doing some, like due to proprietariness, like they might be able to do some neat stuff. But they always promote low latency wireless, and the important part is if you can connect it wired, therefore you remove any question about latency, or at least
That is the one thing where I'm like, wireless. I don't know about that. The thing about wires is, yeah, they remove any latency. So in a fighting game, you really kind of need to not have that. Um, yeah, it is a kind of a weird arena for them to step into. Going the other way, kind of looking at this in the worst possible light, this seems like it might be we can fairly reasonably cheaply win some hearts and minds by being able to say that we created this fight stick. We're not going to support it beyond the first version, and we're going to sell the ones that we want to sell, and then if it doesn't do gangbusters, then we're just going to kind of quit selling it, or there won't be any more, of them. Um, but at least but it is like it's so that would be like the worst way that I could look at it. The wireless is also like, well, it really, I mean, you basically, if you're making it wireless and wireless only, then you're kind of cutting yourself out of the pro scene, because I feel like the pros are just gonna be like, well, I can't trust it. I just can't. You just can't take the chance on anything going wrong. Um, the other thing that I will say is that with any fight stick, because they are not first party, except for this one, every other fight stick is not first party. You do have kind of the worry of, will it connect properly? And they're all made to connect properly. But if you go over generations, there's a question, because it's like, well, like the one that I got, I think was originally made to work on the PS4. I got it after the PS5 came out, so it was proven. It was like, yeah, we have the drivers and all that stuff, and it worked and all that stuff. So I was like, okay, good. But you know, PS5 Pro should be the same. PS6, if you happen to have whatever fight stick long enough, um, there is a question of like, will it continue to work, or am I gonna have to get a new one? You know, that stuff. This one, at least, um, being Sony, should work or at least update. You know, uh, one would imagine for a very long time. So that's another thing that might be
You
good
kind
about
of
it.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that they're showing that they're more willing to go in on fighting games again. But the thing
Mm-hmm.
is, they've been in the forefront of console game fighting since like the PS3.
Right.
I mean, because they're the one they were that was
PS2 as well.
the um well, yeah, yes and no. But as
PS1.
far as the tournament scene, PS3 really hit in hard with Street Fighter 4, and then you had like I forget which Tekken at the time came out. I think it was 6 or something like that. The PS3 also had a bunch of banger like Arc System Works. You had the Persona 4 Arena and
Right.
stuff like Virtual Fighter 5, I think. It's been a while, but we I mean, you and I played that's where we got into a lot of the fighting games when we were still in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So that was all PS3 stuff, and then from PS4, they still they ended up buying they bought Evo if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So or at least they have they have some controlling part of Evo. And later on in the showcase, there's also a big announcement they meant in the as far as the fighting games go. I'll just say it now. Like it was one of their last ones was the Marvel was it
Tokone.
Token or
Fighting
Tokon, yeah, that's
Souls.
it. Um, yeah, so it's a Marvel fighting game, and at first you're like, "Okay, are they redoing Marvel, like, versus Capcom or something?" And, it's like you're seeing some Marvel characters fight, and then you're seeing, characters switched out, so, like, alright, mentally, I'm counting already. I'm like, "Okay, they swapped out, so they're on player number 2," and then it's like, because it was Captain America, Iron Man, then there's, Storm, there's, like, Doctor Doom, and like each time you're counting, and it's like eventually they end up going to like the moment they like we have three. I'm like, okay, it's a 3-on-3 fighter, got it. And then they switch out to 4, and you're like, oh, okay, you're different. This is your gimmick. You're now doing a 4v4 fighting game. I'm like, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
The other cool part is it's a very much a anime um aesthetic. It's like we're gonna take the Japanese twist. So Iron Man has the like the common rider or like the superhero mech V on his forehead, Gundam
Right.
V or something like that. And uh it's like Captain America has like a tactical vest or
Mm-hmm.
like has some sort of like more like tactical body armor. You have what was it they showed Spider-Man. You had that's right, it was the Ghost Rider. There was Ghost Rider in there as well. So
Yep.
it looks really good, and the most important part is, the people developing it, right?
Arc
So
System
that's an
Works.
all that's yep,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're like,
So
"Oh."
that, I mean, that was kind of the show closer here. Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls. Marvel approached Arc System Works because they are, outside of the guys that develop for Tekken and for Street Fighter. And really, in some ways, they are better than those guys. Arc System Works is kind of the peak of the industry. So yeah, like very smart move to go to them. And yeah, this Marvel game, it looks good. Marvel, um, on its face, I was like, okay, well, I'm not that interested, just by the way that it looks. But when you know its Arc System Works, uh, it's like, okay, yeah, I am very much more intrigued. I definitely want to check this out because I know that it's going to be wild and fun and feel arcadey, but also have a high ceiling. So yeah, like it does. Like it's the end of the show for a reason because it does look really good. It's a big IP with a big developer, so yeah, very good looking game, I think.
Yeah, for sure, and it was a good surprise. Once again, it's showing that, Sony's willing to put some money into the fighting scene.
Yeah, and that's what you want, you know. So I guess just kind of going on a little bit, we go see a little bit more for Metal Gear Solid Triangle, Snake Eater. Uh, so
You're avoiding saying Delta, so yeah, it's
Metal Gear Solid Delta.
they,
Metal Gear Solid Delta. It's just a little bit more of the gameplay and stuff like that. Some stuff looks kind of cool. They show you kind of transforming from like I forget what it was, into a pile of rocks, and then an enemy goes by and doesn't notice you. Looks pretty cool.
that bit at the end looks like it's probably it's hinting at the multiplayer
Oh,
is
okay.
what it looks like it's hinting at,
Mm-hmm.
because there was a big following back in the day, early internet, like console internet gaming, for so yes, Metal Gear Solid 3 back then had, they ended up having, uh yeah, I know, like, a friend of mine was just that they really went into the online gaming. They was like SOCOM, and then when this came out, they're like, this is what they played.
Um,
Uh, the was it a couple weeks ago? They showed, they released the new video of the soundtrack, or the opening theme song, being re-recorded, so you can actually hear that. It's one of my favorite, like, uh especially more modern video game soundtracks. It's a Bond-esque, um like, song, and it's pretty amazing. I always loved that theme song to Snake Eater,
mm,
and then to have them re-record it, like, was it 20 years later or whatever? It's insane. So
mm,
yeah, I'm a fan of the game. I don't know if I'm gonna have the time to replay it, but it looks great. But it also has the same, uh, the gameplay looks similar. So it's not like they completely revamped it like they did with Twin Snakes or anything like that. They're not breaking the game. They're still keeping it kind of that same way.
mm-hmm.
So, if for those who are fans of the old one, and they'll feel comfortable, I think, opposed to just trying to make it for a new audience. All right, I'm okay with this.
Okay. Um, Next up, Neo 3 coming out. Neo 2, I remember being a bit of a disappointment. Neo 1, I remember people being like, "Whoa, this game is wild, so good," kind of out of nowhere. So Neo 3, um, been a while since the second one. So I imagine they probably have quite a bit different stuff, and they're probably aiming to um, really kind of try some new things and impress people again. I don't remember who the dev is for this, but
Team Ninja did is the Neo guys.
okay.
They ended up, yeah, Neo 2, I think, got a lot of flack just because of the, uh like, the stages. Essentially, you got to, it was an
Oh.
open world, so it was more little, like, you selected the levels, but it still had and it was, people still wanted more of a Dark Souls, like, and it's difficult, but it's different, and so that's why people were a little more upset with 2, that I remember. um
Okay.
so yeah, 3, I mean, I think it'll be fine. It's Neo is still has its following. I've not really got into the games because I'm pretty bad at them, so that's just it.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a different world, honestly.
Yeah,
Um,
Neo 2 came out in 2020 or 2021 or something like that. I don't
really,
quite
I feel like
remember.
it's been a while.
Yeah, COVID. That's what happened.
Mm.
That's the problem, is it came out early COVID or whatever, or like, and it kind of, your brain doesn't remember anything from back then.
No, yeah, like there actually it's funny you should mention that because there is stuff that comes out that came out in like 21, 22, and I'm like, yeah, I don't remember this at all. Just I mean, it's just one of those weird parts of history, I guess. Next up, Thief VR Legacy of Shadow VR game. Gonna be on PSVR 2 ostensibly. I never played Thief, or at least not that new one or anything, especially not any of the old ones. But it was a game that I always wanted to play. This piques my interest because it's on VR and it's Thief. Looking at the gameplay, does look pretty cool. So kind of excited about it.
Yeah, it's Thief was one of the like uh one of the more classic genres. It was always held at a high, lofty, standard. Um, I I came in late to Thief personally, and then I believe Thief eventually was done by Eidos Montreal back when
Mm,
they were still doing stuff, and the immersive sim was still kind of popular, and they
right.
did so. I was surprised to see this kind of come out of nowhere, or at least I felt like it did. They of course switched out the your main character, which I cannot remember their name, but they name dropped him, or they hinted him in the world. So you're playing as a woman now, and yeah, I mean, I'm kind of curious. I know stealth games are like not that common in VR. The the only one I can think of is something similar that has that aspect is the Vampire the Masquerade game that had come
Mm.
out. That is more or less positive, at least for the PSVR community. So, uh, yeah, I mean, I'm cool with them, trying something new. I hope it turns out well and doesn't like have terrible jank or anything like that, because a good thief game could be awesome. Taking out candles, making your own, like being being able to be sneaky like that and get into it, that'd be kind of a cool thing. So
Next up, Tides of Tomorrow. This is from the guys that made Road 96. It is what they're calling a multiplayer story. It's sort of a sci-fi kind of environment. A lot of trash and pollution everywhere. A lot of watery levels or levels with kind of water surrounding them. Um, I'm trying to remember the gameplay. It's basically like you're so they're calling it a multiplayer story. So you follow other real players who have played through and kind of choose like which one you follow and sort of figure out like what they did. Kind of it is a interesting idea. I would say it's not something that I will want to play, so not paying too much attention to it. But it is an interesting concept of like other players doing stuff, following in their footsteps, and then veering off if you think that they're doing it the wrong way or something. Yeah,
yeah, it was kind of a neat like choose your own adventure. Do you trust it's like, do you trust the person who their path, or do you want to try something new and different? The only thing I really have to say for the game is like it's very colorful. I mean,
very
it
colorful.
looks has a very very unique look to it. I'm like, that's kind of neat, but at the same time, it really wasn't pulling me in. But I was just like, it's a creative thing. Once again, new IP. So I'm kind of curious about it. But the moment I hear like multiplayer, like my brain kind of shuts down a little bit.
Yeah,
So
me too.
I'm it depends if it executes well, then that'd be awesome. I'm curious. I think it'd be more. I think I might be more interested in watching people play it. Like you could probably see somebody do some good trolling or something like that, trying to lead people into the wrong way or something like that. I don't know. It might be a really good Twitch game. So, all right.
It probably will be a Twitch game for sure. Next up, they had a little bit of news about Astrobot. I don't remember what it was exactly.
New characters. The
Okay.
more DLC characters. They've added multiple DLC content since as well for all for free. Some of the one of the new characters is forgetting her name, the main character from Ghost of Yote, and then they're like, well, and then they're keeping the other ones. I think there's three other ones that are quiet. They're keeping,
Mm.
but yeah, they're just continually adding stuff for free to the game, and it's great for them. Good, it's good on them for that.
Next up, Sea of Remnants. This one I think is also multiplayer. Um, it it is a pretty cool, I guess, looking swashbuckler of a game. Also quite colorful. Um, I really don't know much about this, but because it doesn't really look quite up my alley. But
It lost me on pirates. So,
yeah,
like,
pirates. Yeah,
the moment I saw it, I checked out. I was just I don't know, quit trying to make pirates happen. I just don't care. I mean, that's unfortunately, that's just how I am with that,
we're gonna
and,
party like
yeah, if
it's two
games
thousand. We're gonna pirate like it's 2003 or something.
I mean, once again, we've been talking about new IP. I really want it to do well. You're not gonna get my money just unless if it's, like, completely great, but, like, I have no desire or love for pirates. And the last couple pirate themes, like theme games that have come out, have not moved the needle for me at all. Especially when you're like, it's a multiplayer thing, and you get to swashbuckle with your friends. I'm like, no. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know. It I mean it looks pretty cool. It looks more cool than any of the other pirate games that I've seen in a while. And it may not actually be multiplayer. It looks like it might. I can't really tell. But it has some good looking parts to it. Um so yeah, I hope it's great. But we'll keep an eye on it, I guess. Um Next up, Sword of the Sea. So you remember that game Journey? Do you also remember that game Abzu? Well, what if the same developer took the first game and the other game and they put them together and then they call that game Sword of the Sea? You are a dude surfing on a sword. Um,
Chinese style, essentially.
yeah, Chinese style. I'm not going to speak to that because I'm not the Asian in the room. But yeah, so you go through deserts, through and then like into like desert that goes straight into like water, um, and you can surf on both, and then it also shows you surfing on snow and stuff like that. Looks like it's probably a lot more involved than Journey of old, but I imagine it won't be terribly long because this developer never makes games that are very long. So yeah, I did see a little bit of him talking about this on Day of the Dev. He said that their aim, he said we can't. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but he said we can't make you have a spiritual experience by playing our game, but we can do everything that possible to make it so that you could have a spiritual experience with our game. And I was like, that's a really weird thing to say, but I kind of get it. I kind of get what they're talking about, what they're going for. And I hope it's successful. It looks kind of too much, same but different for me to really want to dive in. Um, but it's at least well, at least we know it's going to be a competent game, and it does look quite nice, quite colorful and pretty. So it has that going for it.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is it shows you bringing like life to the desert. Like so showing like blooms and stuff like that. Um, I mean, the you know that game company was the ones it's like you know did Flow, Flower, Journey, and Sky Children something. And
Right. Yeah.
I think that was a mobile game mostly. But anyways, Journey. So and it's like Journey was a game that I absolutely love, and it's one of those things that everyone plays it and finds a different experience with it. Some people had better or worse depending on like the system that was in play, and the outcome that I got was pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And also it's one of those things that I made my father-in-law play it, and the way they interpreted that game uh was great because it's like it was very valid but at the same time different from the way I did, and I was like, okay. So but as far as this is going, I mean, it does have the same vibe as Journey. You're like, okay, if you like that scene where you're surfing down the sand, you got way more of it here. uh good luck with that. But hey,
Yeah.
uh it's a pretty game. If you need if you want an escapist kind of feel, that's what games are there for, right? It's there to pull you out, make you think like you're in a different spot, make you just enjoy and go with the flow. I'm like, so uh, good on them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of snarky about it, but I mean, it is a nice looking game. I just am like, yeah, you keep making the same game over and over
So
again.
I can't remember. Is this supposed to be Giant Squid who's doing this one,
That's what it
or
said, Giant Squid.
because okay, um, yeah, because once again, it's just like I never got around to playing Abzu,
Me neither.
and to be frank, like I remember getting Abzu, and I think for some reason in my brain, when Abzu first came out, or around the time at least when I got Abzu, I got it free somehow, and I just remember being like, I mistaken it for um that survival game. You're in the water. They have a sequel out.
Subnautica.
Yes, I completely, and I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, that's the scuba game, right? So I'm like, oh yeah, and I completely got it wrong. And I was just like, so for the longest
Uh,
time, I'm like, oh, that's that game, right? And I was just like, and so I didn't really pay it much mind. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I did a double take at one point. I'm like, oh wait, no, Subnautica. So wait, what was that other one then? And I was like, I'm like, oh, I should really get around to that. So but it's on my back catalog, and unfortunately, so but Journey once again, it's just like I can't speak more highly of that. I love the soundtrack. I love that game. And anything that's remotely like this, but like this one, like I said, seems way more fast paced and like it has more to it. So I'm curious what their new twist is. So,
all right. Last but not least, we're gonna talk about a little game called 007 First Light. So this is the new 007 game. IOI Interactive of Hitman fame.
it's just IO interactive, okay? It's
IOI
IOI because the I is interactive. It's not
IO
ATM machine.
ATM Machine Interactive. IOI or IO Interactive of Hitman fame was selected to make this game, and it's I am concerned. Um, I am concerned. Because what is so good about Hitman is sort of the kind of the like
Sandbox nature.
the sandbox nature, the puzzlement of it all, the Rube Goldberg sort of aspects of it, where it's like you do this and then this happens and that happens, and it's like, oh, okay, and so you kind of kind of go through it that way, and the Hitman games don't have a lot of personality to them, and I don't mean for that to sound mean. It's kind of in a good way. This 007 game has a lot of personality, and it has a lot of it seems like it's going to want to rely on action a lot more, and I don't really know how good IO Interactive is really going to be at that. The game doesn't look bad. It looks pretty good, but I am I'm just afraid that the people that wanted the people who control the purse strings uh, are going to be like, or have been like, yeah, we need this to have more action. We need this to have more action. We need this to have more action in it. And IO is going to be like, well, that's not really what we do. I mean, we make action-y games, but more than anything, they're like spy puzzle games. Um, so it doesn't look bad, but I am concerned.
All right, so I understand what you're talking about, but at the same time, I am not as concerned. It's an interesting. The biggest shock, I guess, is the interesting take about being a young James Bond, right?
Yes.
Like you kind of got that with in the films with Casino Royale, when they show him just getting his license.
Hmm.
But this is supposed to be pre that. Now, I mean, which then immediately I thought, okay, this is going to set it up where you do one of two things, right? You either at the very end of this game, you get your license, you become 007,
Mm.
or you then do the film thing of you're going to stretch it to a trilogy, and then at the end of the trilogy, make it, don the 007 moniker then. Because you could,
Gosh.
but you're having him young, you're having him, it's like is supposed to be like closer to the books, which I never went through the Ian Fleming books. Um, and it's like that's why he's supposed to have the scar, I guess.
Mm.
Um,
I was
and
wondering about that.
honestly, yeah. So so some of the action scenes, like, hey, you're going to get some car chases. I'm like, that's all right, that's fine. And that's something that you don't get from a Hitman game, but I can see them doing the levels as that, like sandbox style where you have to take out the target, or you have to go from point A to point B. There's going to be I can see them letting you do different routes. They
Right.
didn't really show a lot of gameplay here because this is just a vibe piece, and yeah, they're showing him go through like his training, shooting the mechanics and stuff like that, shooting targets.
They do show a
So,
little bit, and it does look Hitman esque. It does look like it's like, okay, there's definitely some carryover there.
and I think they'll do a great job about being as stealthy or as loud as you want to be,
Mhm.
because that also happens in the Bond films, right? You're doing um as you're coming into the scene, like, or like Bond starts to do some stuff stealth in the series, and then all of a sudden things go wrong, and then he gets a call on his earpiece and be like, what's going on? Give us a status, and he's just like, and then he does some quip of, like, uh, essentially knocking someone out, right? Or having some to take care of something. And they kind of showed that in the trailer. It shows him in the hotel room and talks about, it's like how I think he made a reference to jet lag or something like that because the room was
Mm.
trashed. Uh, so I mean, it's very much a go try to be as stealthy as you can, and when things go awry, you can bond it up and make it violent. So
Well,
I'm not.
I mean, if anybody can make it, who's just going to do a good job regardless, it's going to be IOI. So it makes sense that it's like, well, the meat of the game is going to be that, that spy um, thriller kind of stuff, and then we are just going to work on making the action scenes few and far between. But when they do happen, when they do have to happen, that is still going to be really good. So it's not too concerning, but I am just like, I don't know. It's probably going to be fine, but with a big IP like that, I imagine that this game will probably has probably just stayed cooking until the suits at all of the studios are happy with it.
Yes. The other thing is, I believe they're using the theme song to Her Majesty's Secret Service. Um, I'm trying to remember now, off the top of my head. And it's just like, but anyways, they're putting a lot of love into it. I think this is probably this. I'm more excited about this than I was at like this was like the closer to me because they've been talking about this James Bond game for a very long time. Uh, and so to
Yeah.
get this, I'm like,
Well, I mean, I
for
remember
sure.
like I remember texting you whenever I first found out about this. It's like, dang, this is gonna be so cool. And it's better than not. I'll say that for sure. Um, so I've been excited for a long time too. Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it for the state of play, right?
Yes, that's gonna do it for the state of play. Okay. So yeah, going on to Summer Games. I always want to say Summer Games Fest. Summer Game Fest. One game. Um, for this one, there's a lot of stuff, and a lot of it is really great to talk about, and we would love to do all of that. But real life things have us needing to have a little bit shorter of a podcast than going another full hour.
That unfortunately, I did not get to watch like this, so that's why I'm just deferring to Nick on this one. My house is
I mean,
currently in a dire
really,
strait, so
really, we would probably just power through, but I have to get up super early to help some family, and we have other scheduling problems, so we really have to cut some of this kind of short. So we're gonna go through some of the stuff that I found kind of more interesting. I'll go ahead and list off though until we get to some of that those bolded items. So Mortal Shell 2 announced, Fortnite, Star Wars, Galactic Battle 5, Death Star Sabotage. That is all one game. That is 3 colons. That's coming out. I guess it's all part of Fortnite though. Death Stranding 2 on the beach. They talked a bit more about that. Chronicles Medieval. Don't know anything about that, but they talked about it. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. You can just cross that right off the list because it's a Sonic game. Code Vein 2. All right, first bolded game. I feel like I've been hearing about this game for a long time, but it looks like a Code Vein game, but it does look good. It's kind of one of those anime style games, but actiony and a lot of particles flying around, stuff like that. Looks pretty cool, but I don't really know much else to talk about it.
Code Vein 1 was essentially the anime Dark Souls is what a lot of people were calling it back then. It had a great character customization, lots of detail. I mean, you could make a really pretty anime character, and essentially the gameplay was solid. So the few friends I knew that had this put some serious time into it. I was just like, I the only time I put into it was when I went to visit them, and I'm like, yeah, let me check out that character creator, and I'm like, dang, and I sat there for like the following hour just making a character that I never did play. So yeah,
like Dungeons and Dragons.
It's pretty neat.
It's like anime Dungeons and Dragons. That's funny. Okay, well, it definitely looks cool, and I would like to get into it if the stars align. Next up, End of Abyss. This one is not bolded, but it should have been probably. It is a kind of isometric twin stick shooter, to be putting it very lightly. It's sort of horror esque, kind of borrows some ideas or some feelings, some feels from like the game Inside. If you've played that, then if you know, you know. But yeah, it's that game. This game has my interest, and I'll just leave it there. Next couple ones: Mouse, PI for Hire, Game of Thrones, War for Westeros, Atomic Heart 2, and The Cube. Those were announced. Atomic Heart didn't come out that long ago, did it?
No, just a few years ago. Yeah, I mean,
2 years
but
ago?
it was one of the Game Pass, like darlings, I guess. When it first
Yes.
came out, because it's like not a lot of people would have played it otherwise. I think. I felt that the fandom behind it was more of the fan service. Like,
What?
a lot of people like the robot girls that were in
What?
there.
Hmm.
I only made it about like a couple hours into the game, and I did enjoy what was going on with it, but I think at the time, I think I cut Game Pass, so I don't have
Interesting.
access to it anymore.
That's the game that cut Game Pass for Joe. That's what made him want to stop
No,
getting
no,
Game Pass.
it looked cool. It had like, it reminded me of BioShock 1, in
Yes,
that,
that's what I
like,
heard.
here's the new world, here's all the magic technology we have, and it was just like it was fun that way. So
I heard good things about it. Marvel Cosmic Invasion got announced. Onimusha, Way of the Sword. A bit more about that. And then coming up after that, Felt That Boxing. This game, I don't know how good this game is going to be, but it definitely looks weird. It's the characters in it are like Muppet style. So I guess they're made of felt. So yeah, I should explain. It's spelled Felt. Felt that. Felt that boxing. So you have these Muppet characters, and and they're boxing. There's a story. There's voice acting, not a ton, but it's definitely a weird looking, unique kind of game, which is what I'm down for. So I will keep my eye on that. Going on, Killer Inn, then Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders does look actually kind of cool. Then Dune Awakening. For a Dune game, it looks okay. It looks like it won't be anything too terribly special, but at least it doesn't look bad to me.
I
Chrono.
know there's been a wave of for that one. There was supposed to be like a wave of hate, and then it bounced back on Steam with a wave of positivity. So
Who
I was
knows?
like, I didn't really. I saw that our headline article. And I'm wondering if it was reaction to the original this trailer or something when it came out, but unfortunately, just haven't had time to look.
Gamers are the worst. Chrono Odyssey, and then some more stuff about Wuthering Waves, then a little bit about Mio. And then next is a game that I bolded called Out of Words. This is one of those games that Joe would say that Nick would like. It has a unique art style, sort of bit of a stop motion. I don't want to say clay animation because it's not like that, but it's like a puppety sort of animation style. Um, and it's just kind of good looking.
Didn't
Um,
no, isn't it claymation? Like,
is it
isn't it like legit? They've made models of clay.
is it really
Um,
clay? Doesn't seem clay to me, but maybe I'm
so
wrong.
this one is very much a multiplayer like a two or it looked like your characters are magnetic, like, or they have that polarity kind of concept.
Hmm.
They show them jumping and kind of being pulled together, and other times they were being like repelled to try to do like a mirroring of image as you're platforming across the screen. Uh, it looks like a neat game. It's most definitely you told me to you told me to take a look at it beforehand, and I was like, yeah, for sure. This is uh, it's probably going to be a fun not really long game, but I think it'll be worth the time. Essentially, it won't waste your time.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a game that's not going to set out to waste your time. Um, I was trying to find it again to have another look at it, but yeah, so it looks pretty cool. Then Mafia: The Old Country, get to see a bit more about that.
Yeah, since I was going to ask you about that, since I didn't get to see this, I was like, did they show anything interesting on this?
That's a good question. I didn't really get to watch too much about this one either. It looks fine. It looks fun. It looks kind of like The Godfather in the part where he goes back to Italy. Um, and so yeah, but I mean, we're both excited about it, and that's what really counts, right? Um, so so yeah,
It
I
has a nice price to it too. So I mean,
5-0.
can't forget that.
Yeah, it's gonna. Yeah, it's right in that Claire Obscura uh, price point. Um, Lego Voyagers. This one caught my eye because it's not quite so loud of a Lego game. Looks like kind of like a puzzle platformer, isometric-y, you know, a puzzle platformer. You're putting little pieces together to make things to help you get across, gorges and then you're on boats and stuff like that. So it for some reason it piqued my interest more than other Lego games do. It
It
also
was because it's an Annapurna game, and you have a soft spot for them.
I must have a soft spot for Annapurna. Are those the guys that did 12 minutes?
Yes.
I'm never gonna play this game then. So never mind. Take it off. It's trash. Next up, Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny. This was like SpongeBob beating people up. Bunch of other crazy stuff going on. Next after that, Lies of P Overture. I guess this is DLC. I don't know. I don't care about Lies of P, but if you do, then this is probably for you. After that, Fractured Blooms. This game has an anime girl, and then so I'm sold. This game has an anime girl, and then the rest of the scenery backgrounds, the world is more realistic looking, and it has a horror aspect to it. Um, the trailer has this lady's voice that is kind of calm and soothing and talking about normal sounding things, but then it's kind of panning around the world and showing you the growth of this, some sort of, I'll call it an infestation, energizing energy kind of red infestation, and her kind of, you kind of realizing that she's creepily talking about the ice box or what's in the garden or something like that, and it's like, okay, this is weird. So it caught my eye, and it looks weird and kind of horror esque. Um,
It kind of reminds you of like the Alice, like Madness Returns or something like that. The Alice in Wonderland stuff where she's like, deranged. Kind of feels something similar to that.
yeah, something's unhinged about it, and it's just a little bit odd seeming. And that's what I like. Next couple ones we're gonna list: Blade and Soul Neo, Crystal of Atlan, X One Punch Man. So they kind of showed some of that. The Seven Deadly Sins Origin. I have no love for the Seven Deadly Sins, but this game actually looked kind of cool. I was like, or at least it looked good. It looked like had a nice aesthetic to it. Um, the state
You
of
would say that. I can't stand that series, so
I know, like that's kind of like when I'm like, yeah, this is a terrible, ridiculous series, but it was playing, and I was like, well, it looks pretty at least, whatever. Um, the state of Unreal Engine, they kind of had this little ad where they kind of showed some Unreal Engine stuff, so I thought I'd list that here. Jurassic World Evolution 2 got talked about. Um, and then going on to the Shovel Knight devs, what they've been doing for the past 10 years, besides making Shovel Knight DLC. Mina the Hollower. So, don't really know too much about this game, but it it does look like they're accomplishing what they're going for. That retro style looks like maybe a bit more involved than Shovel Knight was. Yeah, looks good. Looks cool.
yeah, it's you told me to take a look at this one, and for sure, having I feel like that this gameplay is more up my speed than Hollow Knight was. I mean, I respect Hollow Knight for what it did, but it just like for it to be like, yeah, we're taking our whole premise from the Ducktales game, and I'm like, yeah, I just don't feel it as much. But this really looks like the old Castlevania, or um, like Zelda's games and stuff like that. Kind of reminded me of Alundra for the PlayStation, mostly because they had that flail, and I was like, all right, this is kind of cool. I'm kind of stoked about this.
Indeed, indeed. And then after that, we do have an announcement for Deadpool VR. The way they announced this was kind of weird, kind of cool, I guess. But yeah, it's a Deadpool game, um, where you are killing people in VR. Um, doesn't look particularly mind blowing, but it does look kind of funny, kind of quippy, and it's in VR. So definitely gonna keep my eye on this, and probably you and I will probably take a crack at it if we can ever get back to our regular VR night. Um,
Yeah, but this is did they announce what this is for? Because
I think it's
I
I don't know.
I didn't actually get to see this. I mean, is it? I wasn't sure if this is going to be like a meta only, or you
MetaQuest
know,
was, I think, the one that took the main part of it. I'm trying to find it again. Of course, I can't find it because my life is a trash bag. Late 25 Oculus. So maybe it is just going to be because it says Oculus Studios, so it may not be on PSVR to start. Yeah, that's too bad. Um,
yeah. I mean,
wait, it
it's
does
the only
show it.
reason why I wasn't sure about it is because if it was, coming to PlayStation, I feel like that might have been on the state of play.
Yeah,
So
yeah, they definitely probably would have had this on there, but yeah, it says only on MetaQuest 3 and 3S, so that is where it's gonna live for now.
and unfortunately, if it's anything like the Batman game that everyone loved last year, uh, chances are coming to PlayStation is next to none. Though you can possibly PC back boot it. There's there's that maybe. But
Well, I
anyways,
mean,
all
like,
right, that's unfortunate.
yeah, yeah, but I mean, we can maybe finagle our PCs to run it on our PSVR twos. We'll see. After that, another thing that's right up your alley, Joe, Dying Light: The Beast, which we've already heard a bit about, but I feel like they showed some more gameplay or some more stuff, and it does look pretty cool.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Dying Light 1, and this is like at least they've been talking about this for a while. It's supposed to take place. It's more of a direct sequel, not as big of a game as the as Dying Light 2.
Hmm.
Uh, I never finished Dying Light 1, so actually, I if this is game is directly following it, I'm kind of a little bit of at a loss. But if it's a little more streamlined, I think that might be a lot better for a lot of people. The trailer looks cool, has a lot of action. Though because I didn't finish the first game, I may not necessarily connect with his aggression of wanting to. I'm pretty sure they'll fill you in on the backstory for the sequel, being like, yeah, this is what happened, and this is why I want. I'm so angry at this other person. Uh, but hey, it looks good. I'm a fan of their stuff, uh, and I'd like to get around to it. It's though one of the reasons why I like the Dying Light 1 and 2 is because of the multiplayer, and I'm not really sure if they're gonna have multiplayer on this because this is supposed to be following the main protagonist from the previous. Not really sure, so we'll I guess wait and see.
We shall wait and see. Okay. Next up, mixtape. Um, I'm I might actually try this. I don't know. If I have to pay for it, I
Because it's
won't.
an Annapurna game.
It's another Annapurna game. It does look really
You
floaty.
like a lot of Annapurna stuff, despite 12 minutes or whatever. Every
12 minutes
like
is
you
so
have
bad.
a very big soft spot in there. If you look through comb through the history of our stuff, like yeah,
Almost.
you and Annapurna.
I mean, I'm looking at this game and I'm like, I know this game is going to be really stupid, but it does have a lot of songs by The Cure and the Smashing Pumpkins and stuff like that in it. And it does look like it has a lot more gameplay, to be honest, than that other game that we talked about. Um, that I only played a little bit of. What is it called?
So oh,
Something in Rage.
Lost Records.
Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. Yeah, it looks less tweeny than that. It's very tweeny still, but less like I'm 14 and this is deep. More like I'm 16 and this is deep. So we'll see. Yeah. Anyway, going on. Toa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree. I don't really know how to describe this game. It's got different elements in it. It's in some ways it looks kind of like um, it's an isometric, action RPG. It looks like it has some sort of cooking elements as well. It's anime kind of, not quite hardcore anime style, but it's got like a cartoony style to it. In some of the cutscenes and stuff. Um, I'm curious about it. It definitely looks kind of cool.
Yeah, you had me look at the trailer for this one too. It's yeah, it has a good polish to it. I'm not too familiar with the team, so it's they did they're listed on Steam as doing the Doraemon Story of Seasons
Hmm.
game, which is widely liked. So this is developer is Brownies Inc. And yeah, I guess if you like anime and being isometric, so like Diablo esque gameplay or something like that. Looks like you got some skill sets, like some AOE attacks, stuff like that. So it could be cool. I had no idea about this game beforehand, and it looks nice.
Yeah, I had no idea about it either. Um, yeah. So then going on from that, Acts of Blood. Um, this has some like platforming parkour type stuff in it, but overall it's like a third person action fighter. Um, of course we have to. It's the main character's Asian. A lot of people that they are fighting are Asian. I'm not sure which brand of Asian, but we do have the obligatory hallway fight scene, as you pointed out in the pre-show.
Yeah, so looking through the trailer, you're looking at it like, okay, this is meant to be reminiscent of Old Boy's hallway scene. They do show it from a couple different angles, so you don't necessarily have to play it that way,
But
but
you
at least
can.
a couple of scenes, like it's very much two dimensional right now. You're going from left to right, messing people up. It's very well animated, and unfortunately, ever since there's Sifu and just countless other attempts to recreate that scene.
It
Uh,
does have a bit of a Sifu vibe to it. I'm not sure if it's going to be ridiculously hard like Sifu was, but it's less stylized, I'll say, more realistic looking, and it looks kind of cool. It definitely looks kind of cool.
yep.
Next up, Scott Pilgrim X, if you care. Then the First Descendant Breakthrough, which
All right. So I'm sorry. This Scott Pilgrim. It's Scott Pilgrim. Uh, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be X or EX because
like it's like,
it's like or Scott Pilgrim X, like your the whole X
because it's about
boyfriend.
X's. Yeah.
And so, yeah, the Scott Pilgrim, being a side-scrolling brawler, and the game was always the original game that came out was pretty awesome. Came out for I think it was PS3 era, got delisted because of rights, and then came back at one point. I'm pretty sure. Uh, Super fun game if you like any of the old. Uh, I can't remember I'm dropping the ball now. I don't remember what it's originally based off of. It was River City Ransom. That's it. It's River City Ransom style, which a lot of things have now, also copied. But Scott Pilgrim was one of the first ones to start the kickstart that new wave of River City Ransom type of game, where you can you're able to level up, buy equipment, buy upgrades, and I highly recommend playing the old game at least. So this new one, I don't know much about. Just I just now saw the title when when you're reading down this, so I was just like, all right, I'm already in. Like I don't care. I'm just like, I have friends who will always play a side scroller beat 'em up, whether or not it's the Ninja Turtles new game or something. It's just very much a simple thing to just kick back, relax, and have fun. So uh, if it's anything like the old game, this one should be a banger.
One can only hope. Um, yeah, I forgot that Stray was done by Annapurna as well, and then Wander Stop. Yeah, you're right. I do have a thing for Annapurna games. I guess it's just that 12 minutes. Luis Antoni. I got to watch out for that guy because he's the developer on that one. Anyway,
You already said you like Old Boy, so you're down with what 12 minutes had to
I
offer. Okay. Um, slight spoilers, I guess, for a game that no
what
like
did
if you haven't played it by now, you won't.
how did you put it? How
Um,
did you put it in the pre-show? Like rewatching Old Boy is like one of the hardest things to do, and I was like, yeah, because you know it's. I won't spoil it, but anyway, a movie you should see once at least. Once is okay. Two times. Anyway, next up, Scum. I don't know what this game's about, but it's a game that they talked about. Mind's Eye X Hitman. So Mind's Eye kind of in the news a bit. Uh, there was a copy that got copies that got out into the wild. it's pretty close to release. I think at the end of this month or something, very soon. And so they're kind of scrambling to kind of curtail that. Apparently, um, the game that did get out of the wild is not really complete, and so or at least they're going to do a day one patch or something. So it is being kind of talked bad about. Oh, this it's out and it's out early, and it's bad, you know. So I hate to see that. Hopefully, you know, it will end up being, you know, good in whatever ways they have to patch it. But and because we never know how old that build that got out actually is, but there's
It releases on the 10th.
so it
So
releases literally like 3 days from now as we talk here early on the 7th. Um, well, anyway, so the announcement on this summer game fest was that Mind's Eye is going to be doing a crossover with Hitman. Um, so they kind of show trailer gameplay of Mind's Eye, and then they show the back of Agent 47's head, kind of looking over the city that you're going to be in. So there's some stuff that's going to be involved there that I thought was kind of like, okay, maybe I might take a look at Mind's Eye. You never know.
yeah, I didn't realize. I completely forgot that IO Interactive is publishing. So despite it being Build a Rocket Boy developing, you know, there, but it's, you know, I didn't realize that, and that makes sense. IO If IO Interactive is publishing it, they have at least some ties, and they can try to do some brand synergy, I guess.
Synergy. Yeah, get that brand synergy going. Um, Next up, Hitman World of Assassination. Mads Mikkelsen as Le Chiffre from Casino Royale. He is reprising his role. He is going to be a killable person in Hitman World of Assassination and some new DLC that's coming out. Mads Mikkelsen did show up at the game at the game show at Summer Game Fest. Looking dapper and talking about his role and stuff like that. I didn't pay attention, so go back and watch that if you want to see some Mads Mikkelsen. Then next up, Lego Party. More Lego Party announced. Wildgate talked about. Blighted also talked about. This one I kind of remember being like, this is sort of interesting, but not interesting enough to bold. So if you want more on that, you're gonna have to go look it up. After that, a little game called Ill, horror game, horror action, I guess, first person. Not much enemy variation. They all the ones that we were shown kind of look pretty similar, but the rest of the game looks pretty cool. I don't know how else to describe it. Like the movement of it looks good. The environments look good. You know, that may be as far as it goes, but at least those aspects, I was like, this game looks pretty cool. I could use some more, you know, nuance in some of the other stuff, but it does look cool. And I don't know what all is going on, but some sort of monster creatures, and you have to shoot them or fight them. There's also like these zombie babies, and you get to kick one of those. And Jeff Keighley did comment on that because it's like the last thing that the trailer shows. And he's like, oh, you get to kick a baby or something like that. And then he's like moving right along. But yeah, so Ill, kind of interesting looking game. After that, Mecha Break. Apparently everybody else knows about this game except for me. I don't know. Looks cool. I wish they would have shown some gameplay in it. They seem to act like they didn't need to do that because everybody already knows. But what they did
I
show,
think this was announced beforehand as well. Yes. Just pulling it up right now. I'm like, these images look familiar, but I mean,
I
hey,
remember
yes,
hearing about this before, but I still have not. Everyone acts like it's an old game, or maybe it got released some other way or something. Because I'm like, I'm not seeing it. I'm just seeing like videos of cutscenes. I'm not seeing literal gameplay, at least not that I remember. Um, so I was just kind of wondering about that. But other than that, it does look like a cool mech game.
Yeah, for sure.
Next up, Infinitesimals. Unique looking game. You know, over the shoulder action shooter game. You are some sort of alien race with advanced technology, but you're very small. So much so small that like a bee is as big as your ship. Um, you have lasers, um, and it looks cool in general. The only knock on it that I can see immediately is that the things in the world don't look like they have very much weight to them. So maybe a small studio maybe made on the fly with like Unreal or I always forget the other name of the other package that gets used a lot. Um, doesn't matter.
Frostbite or
No,
no?
no, it's like Unreal, but it's cheaper, and I can't think of it.
Oh, Unity.
Unity looks kind of like a Unity game, like a new Unity game. Maybe that's a little bit too harsh, but it does like all that is kind of beside the point. The idea of it looks cool. What they're trying to do looks cool. I just am wondering about how much weight the characters have to them and stuff. That kind of might take me out of it if I'm playing. But otherwise, new IP and looks like they're trying something. So yeah. Street Fighter 6 new downloadable fighters. They show some of those. Honestly, that I've talked about this. The little commercial they have, the trailer, reminds me of like those weird, super cheap '90s video game commercials, where it's like just some teenage kid wandering around a school, and then they show like the gameplay in snapshots, but he's like wearing like a headband or something. I don't know, it's something stupid like that. You need to go and watch the trailer for this, the commercial for this, because it's like a wrestler, and then he's like in a locker room, and then he keeps waking up cosplaying as the characters that are coming out, and then like shaking out of it, and then going on to the next one. Sort of viral, kind of like a viral marketing sort of '90s thing.
I was to
Anyway,
say if they're trying to do a throwback commercial, I mean, Humanity did that. Like the guys who did Tetris, the game that came out with after Tetris Effect, uh, Humanity. It's like Lemmings but with a dog, and that trailer is pretty amazing. It's very
mm,
much like the late 90s early 2000s or something like that. Just even has the VHS scan lines, and it's it's pretty funny. I would say give it a shot. So I can appreciate a decent throwback like commercial.
yeah, I think that it would be worth your while to go back and watch that one, to see what I'm talking about. Next up, Last Flag. I actually thought this game looked kind of interesting, kind of a capture the flags sort of game. Um, yeah. Next up, Wu Chang, Fallen Feathers. This game I would actually like to talk about maybe a bit more at some point. Not enough time today. Very pretty game, and some of the things about it piqued my interest, but we'll see. Wu Tang, Rise of the Deceiver. So now that I have been hearing this title again, it's starting to remind me of that we've kind of been hearing about this for maybe a little while. Just notable that it's a Wu Tang Clan game. Seems to be very closely connected with them. Ghostface Killa is the developer, or has a like is very involved with it. So I am just kind of curious as to see how this is going to end up being a Wu Tang game? Like, what are we really going to be doing here? Don't get to see very much in
I
terms of
mean, brings you back to PlayStation 1, man. Wu-Tang, the Shaolin style. Like, so they've already been in it. They already have their name attached to a game in the past.
that is that could literally be 25 years ago. I mean that. So yeah, things have changed since then. I don't know what this game is going to be because I haven't seen any gameplay for it yet. Doesn't mean there's none out there. I just haven't seen any yet. So kind of curious, kind of weird. Guild Wars 2, I don't even remember what they were talking about, but they did make a little announcement, some sort of something they were talking about adding something to Guild Wars 2. So
I played it once upon a time. I put a fair bit of time into that game. Is one of those games that like you buy it once and you have your membership forever. So every now and then I would go back to it and check to see. But
what's
then
up?
at a certain point, life carried on, and I just could not keep up with MMOs. So, but in theory, my account, if like I should have all my stuff available to me if I log in. So
You mean you
same with Guild
didn't?
Wars 1. That's still running, and I still have my stuff on
Wow.
that too.
I can't even imagine what that server is like. Um, yeah, you mean you don't have 30 extra hours to dump into an MMO every week? Um, weird.
Yeah, right. It's just like, what I should do is I should have my kids make new characters, and then I and then I just throw them on Twitch and profit off of them, right? Just watch them like, no, you gotta go see that little bunny rabbit, go murder that bunny. Just murder it. You're gonna level up. Just it'll be good. Uh,
I'm gonna
this is
call
called
Child
cool
Protective
cooldown.
Services right now. Um, Next
Uh,
up, they did kind of a bunch of things together. Mongil, Star Drive, a bunch of Hoyoverse stuff, and then a bunch of other stuff that they kind of smashed together here in this Games Fest. So yeah, then Into the Unwell. This game, it's an over the shoulder action game, I guess. Um, and it is in a sort of a Cuphead style. Not really, not Cuphead style, but it's like that 20s cartoon. That's what they're going for, but they're not really achieving it, in my opinion. It's like rotoscoped, cell shaded. Um, it seems strange. Doesn't seem like something that I want to play, but it seems like they are doing their best to make something kind of weird. Um, so I don't really know what else to say about it. You go look at it if you want to. Splitgate 2. So I don't give two dams or a fuck about whatever this Splitgate game is. Um, I would be fine with it, but the dev, very bro looking dude, came out to announce it, and
so Splitgate, isn't that the one where it's the shooter that uses portals?
yes,
So it's an arena. Yeah, okay. It was a neat concept. I never, got around to playing the first one, and now they have a sequel. Okay.
well, the dev was very off-putting to me. I mean, not very off-putting, but a little bit off-putting to me. Now that I kind of think about it more, it came out and he was like, I mean, it spoke from the heart, so you got to give him that. But he was like, I miss playing Halo, and I wanted to make a Titanfall 3. So me and my friends in our dorm, we made Splitgate, and you know, we made Splitgate, and it's really good. And so we made Splitgate 2 for you guys. Blah blah. I was like, okay. He's like carrying around this bat. It looks like a foam bat, and anyway, the last thing that he says before he walks to the stage is Splitgate 2 launches right now and it's fucking awesome. And then he walks away. And I was like, I don't know if I needed that. Whatever. So it's out. Go play it. More importantly, last two games on this that we'll talk about. Number one, Stranger Than Heaven. This had a different code name for a long time. Century something. I forget what. But the true name for it is now Stranger Than Heaven. These are the Like a Dragon guys, the Yakuza guys. Um, looks like it's taking place. I think it said 1943. Um,
I thought it said 1915.
okay, I could be wrong. Um,
I might be wrong on that one. If so, my bad. Like I said, you told me to watch the trailer, so I watched the trailer, and I'm like, and you were like, yeah, it has a huge it's like a dragon vibes, and I'm like, all right, and I look at like, oh, no, and then at the company came in, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is totally them, but it looks good. So that's good, right? I mean, happy for to have a different game that's not like a dragon, but yeah, this is 1915.
okay.
So yeah, a bit earlier, and you know, hey, it looks really violent. I mean, but then it does show you picking up a lady in a kimono, and so like they're still gonna have their ladies of the night like activities, I suppose.
Well,
I don't know how it was back in 1915, but
I'm
I
looking
don't
at a
know.
script. Okay, so we have to get this straight. I'm looking at the video and I'm seeing the numbers 1943, and so I don't know why you think
Is
it's
it time
19.
jumping then?
Maybe it time
Because
jumps.
the video I'm looking at straight up boldly right at the beginning before anything else says 1915.
So it must be a
So
time jump because it shows 1943, but it's more toward the middle. So anyway, we were both right and both wrong. Once again, anyway, Like a Dragon, people, um, and probably gonna be pretty cool. Definitely a cool looking main character. Um, maybe a little bit too slow in some
oh,
ways for me, but
all right. Yeah, because the character I see doesn't. Are you looking at the trailer with the one with the hat?
yes.
Like, yes, not the one I'm watching. So,
Oh.
totally two different trailers.
Why are there two different trailers and why are they in two different periods?
Play the game to find out.
No,
I they
tell
let
me
hey.
now. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That actually, it's a fun thing. They like to have multiple protagonists, or like in a few of the games, they've done it in the past. Uh, the franchise, the Like a Dragon franchise, has actually had um old, not quite Sengoku era, but they've had throwbacks where it was done well before modern era, style. And I never got around to playing any of those. I think they only translated one of them, but
Mm.
they had a few of them out. So but yeah, this team uh making something new, and that would be kind of neat to see the different eras of how they depict it, Japan. So that's cool. I'm actually really excited about this.
There's a cool scene in the trailer where you're walking, and a bunch of people are like eating in an alleyway, kind of a like kind of a restaurant, but just sort of like a little spot where there's a bunch of tables and stuff, and it's super crowded. And a dude stands up and pulls out a knife, and then like everybody in that is like there eating is like, oh f, and they just like scramble, and so they're like running past you as you approach the guy with the knife, and they're like bumping into you, and he's like approaching you, and then right as they kind of get past you and the guy with the knife gets to you, that's when like the fighting breaks out. And I was like, okay, that is pretty cool. I respect what they were trying to do there. So yeah, definitely cool looking game. Um,
Uh, yeah, I mean the one with what I saw was like the 1915. Like just getting a brawl in the street, but he whips out like little sickles, and I'm like, then that's when I made the joke when I was watching the trailer, and just before we started this, and I'm like, I'm expecting him to have like the Axe Gang from Kung Fu Hustle,
okay.
because once again. I was watching 1915, still
Okay.
a very different era.
And then we
So
started talking about Kung Fu Hustle for like 25 minutes. Um, yeah, yeah. So anyway, that's so it definitely looks pretty cool. It might be a good point for me to jump in because I kind of Yakuza games I've played a little bit of, Like a Dragon I've missed completely. This looks different enough that maybe I could jump in and on kind of the new thing that they're trying to do.
Mhm.
All right. So the showstopper, the big reveal for the show, that they did tease at least 2 other times that I saw, maybe more. Um, Resident Evil 9 Requiem. Um, they just show, it's just a story trailer, and it's not even like a complete story, just kind of like story, kind of setting up the story. Um, but it looks pretty good. Looks pretty like they've put some thought into it. You get to see the main character, so it seems, and that's about it. But people were happy, and from what I can tell so far, it looks pretty cool. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like, I believe it's the daughter of one of the characters from, like, it's one of the other characters from Resident Evil. Um, it was neat that
Grace.
they showed like the aftermath of Raccoon City. Uh,
Oh yeah,
the
bombing.
because you see the crater and then like the remnants just of the city itself. Uh, I'm calling it now. Her boss or whatever is a bad guy. He's just like, yeah, I'm gonna put you in the place of your trauma. Deal with it. Maybe you should move on now. I'm like, no, you're totally a bad guy. You're working for Umbrella. I know that they've been talking about this game for a while, and all the rumors and stuff have been about this have been so far. A lot of people believing that it was supposed to be Leon and Jill being playable characters. So, you know, no sign of anyone else that we really recognize. At least the one time I watched the trailer. So, I'm kind of curious to see more of it. Especially of late, where they always have at least you know two characters, perspectives. So, but yeah,
It,
uh, Resident Evil. I mean, hey, it's hope. I mean, I'm kind of hopeful for it. They're gonna the numbered series has been pretty solid. The way they pulled the RE9 in this is ridiculous, though. I mean,
the
it was great when
Q.
they stretched it for Village too. I mean,
Yeah,
uh,
I don't know why that.
it's
Yeah, they need to
it's so
stop.
dumb, but
Like that.
I loved it because it was just it's beyond dumb. Requiem and then making the Q the 9 REQ/9. I'm like, that's super
Well,
dumb,
what they
but I love
so
it.
so they can't get the IX. So they went with the number 9. But if you remember, 7 and 8 at least had the Roman numerals. So I think with Resident Evil 10, whenever that comes out, they'll probably be able to fit the X back in there, because I don't think they'll go for a double digit, 10 or whatever. But you never know. I mean, it might be like an IO sort of name or something like that. But anyway, what I was going to say is the teasers leading up to this teaser trailer, they had the voice actress for Lady Dimitrescu. I can't think of how to pronounce her name properly, but they had her. Yeah, they had her kind of saying, "Hey, we're about to tease this," but she was like in character. So I imagine that she is probably, maybe not that character, but the voice actress is probably going to be involved in this game, or why else would they be having her um, help promote
Or
it?
they can have her at least as someone else. Yeah, yeah, she's in the game somehow. Like
Yeah.
it makes sense in one form or another.
There was something pretty funny too, where where he kind of flubs it, but so it's the teaser for the teaser, where the developers like holds up a glass of wine, with like blood red wine in it. And then the trailer ends, and then Jeff Keighley goes like, "I could go for a glass of wine right now." I was like, "That's that." Both of those jokes that I remember him saying, they were good. They just weren't delivered very well. But I was like, "Kick a baby, okay." And then the wine thing. Anyway, what can you do? Yeah. So, gonna hear a lot more about this game as it gets closer to coming out. the people in your life who are into horror games, support them. That's what I would say. Support them.
Currently slated for looks like February 27th of 2026. So honestly, not terribly far away in the grand scheme of things, but it'll probably be pushed back. So don't worry about it. Um, at least they didn't do the horror joke of like February 14th, Resident Evil, like because
Mm,
that's always played out to death now.
yeah.
Uh, no
Um,
pun intended.
it's sort of surprising they didn't go for like an October-ish, September-ish release at some point, but maybe it was just like, well, development the way that it was, we couldn't get it out for spooky season, and we couldn't wait for the next spooky season, so this is what it is. Maybe they don't care. I don't know, but yeah. So we'll see. But maybe they're just announcing it for February 27th. I mean, they got day and date, but so maybe they're announcing it for February 27th so they can push it out to September of 2026 and get into spooky season. I don't know, but yeah, looks cool. Then there's a whole stuff about a whole big thing of Day of the Devs, which we are not going to go over really in any part, except to say I did watch a little bit of it. Big walk from the House studio, guys that did Untitled Goose Game. Looks kind of cool, but if you're interested in it, go see for yourself, because we are going to probably wrap up here and now.
Yeah, I mean, uh, they did mention the Escape Academy 2, which I just saw the name on the list, and I'm like, hey, I remember Escape Academy 1. That was kind of fun. It was really hard for me to get like a multiplayer action going because it's just scheduling conflicts with friends. But as playing it solo, I'm like, yeah, I recommend it with a mouse and keyboard opposed to a controller because some of the it's an escape room game,
Mm-hmm.
and just the actions needed, I felt was more comfortable with a mouse. Um, but that's I actually end up looking at the Day of the Dev stuff usually, well after the fact because there's something about it that like, all right, I appreciate them still having it, but it's kind of a weird. It doesn't feel like it's as relevant as it used to be. And like looking at like okay, they have mixtape again, they have Blight, they have Moonlighter 2, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I feel like Moonlighter 2 has been around kicking for a bit. There's a few titles that I don't know, but at the same time, it's just like, uh, it'll resurface if they're really, if they're promoting it properly, it'll resurface. Um, but ever since was it Microsoft bought out, um, oh goodness, the guys, the main people who do who've been kind of doing the whole bringing over all the old adventure games, and I'm completely forgetting the studio.
I don't know, man.
n- yeah, the director was popular for juicing, but not that kind of juicing, but like literally
Blending
losing weight because yeah, blending
food.
juicing.
Okay.
um,
I was like,
yeah, he
okay, okay. Yeah, I don't remember.
because yeah, they made the game, I believe, with I think it was Elijah Wood, and it was like, it was a guy in space and a girl on a planet, um, like they made a lot of good adventure games, and I'm just flipping, just losing
oh,
all
Beyond or
faculties right now.
broken. Yeah, broken something.
You can, yeah,
I can see it.
you see it in your brain, but you're forgetting it too.
Yeah.
um
Yeah. Well, we will leave that as a puzzle for our faithful viewers to and listeners to unravel.
Yeah, and then I'm literally gonna call you in the middle of the night and be like, wake your ass up to remember, like, this is
Well,
uh Tim
it's
Schafer.
already the middle of the
Tim
night. So
Schafer, yeah. So Tim Schafer is the guy who used to juice. Uh,
he's
and
on the Zoozle.
but anyways, yeah, because Tim Schafer, he was the spearhead of Day of the Devs.
Okay.
Um, back in the day. And then they used to do good bundles with all his Double Fine game. Double Fine was the studio. That's it.
Okay.
So yeah. Anyways, uh, that's how they were like. That's how I remember them starting out. But all right, this has been a long one. Uh, yeah, if you made it to the end, we appreciate it. Sorry if you were looking forward to us talking about something from Day of the Devs. Nick's not having any of it, and
I hate
I
Day of the
unfortunately
Dead.
missed it all. So,
Maybe we'll talk about it next year.
all right. Well, this has been episode 129. Nick, what are some words of wisdom you have for the people out there?
Always prioritize podcasting and video game news over anything else in your life.
Uh, Stick to your commitments and promises. Yes, that is what I'm going to say. All right, guys. Once again, this is ADP. Until next time, take it easy.
Bye.